With the new elections coming up in 2020, the debates will be occurring why each Democratic candidate believes they are best suited for the job of President of the United States of America. And among those candidates is one that profoundly stands out. He's a candidate who was part of the Democratic Party in the year 2016, and the fellow goes by the name of Bernie Sanders. And he was recently also on the Joe Rogan podcast. And let me just say, I personally like the way he talks. He's very to the point, and he seems like a really nice guy. Bernie Sanders has more of a socialistic approach, believing that healthcare should be a human right. In other words, that the government should be taking care of people's healthcare, and it should be essentially free, which doesn't really exist because it's going to end up coming out of the pockets of the Americans in the form of taxes, as if Americans are not taxed enough already. But I mean, that's okay, at least for me, because my income isn't earned. It's mainly passive income that comes from real estate and businesses, and my business income, which gets taxed very differently from individuals who work regular 9-to-5 jobs, or just, regular jobs that requires a W-2 form. So if you're one of those individuals and you like Bernie Sanders and he implements what he wants, it's really going to screw you over the most. It's going to screw over the middle class the most, because you're the one who's going to have to foot this tax bill. And I'll explain why it's going to affect you the most here. So Bernie Sanders wants to stop the corrupt, greedy, big pharma business by making healthcare free, which I'm not going to debate that. I mean, whether these pharmaceutical companies or big pharma are corrupt or fueled by greed, because I agree, and I think that's, I don't even think it really matters whether I agree or not. I believe it's a fact. But nonetheless, Bernie's methodology on wanting to fix the American health crisis at hand is completely wrong, and I'm going to prove it to you now. In America alone, over 610,000 American people die each year of heart disease. Every single year. Over 735,000 American people have a heart attack each year. Let those numbers sink in right now. 735,000 Americans have a heart attack each year. That means they've been suffering with heart disease before all this happened. Over 140,000 Americans die each year from a stroke. Over 795,000 American people suffer from a stroke each year. So at least they don't die. Looking at the numbers, you're just likely to have a stroke, get all jacked up, and then probably have to be put on medication for the rest of your life, because of the lifestyle that someone is choosing to live. And to top it off, okay, in regards to just heart attacks and strokes, the amount of money that is spent put together of strokes and heart attacks is $320 billion every single year. Now, if we go on to another epidemic that's growing and rising more than ever, we have over 100 million Americans. That's almost a third of the population that either have diabetes or are pre-diabetic. This is costing Americans over $245 billion every single year. Americans spend over $500 billion each year just on heart attacks or heart disease, strokes, and diabetes alone. I didn't even get into cancer or anything else, any other major sicknesses in America. We're talking $500 billion. Let that settle in. Does anybody understand how much money that is? But that's okay, because Bernie thinks it's ridiculous that people have to pay 10 times more for drugs in this country, in America, than in other countries.
It's the same thing as the drug companies. How is it possible that we pay 10 times more for insulin in this country and for other drugs than in Canada or countries around the world?
I agree. But I agree. It is jacked up that people have to pay this amount for insulin or any other drug, statins or blood pressure medication or whatever. Yeah, it is jacked up. It is. But why pay for it at all? We know what's the cure. Why are people relying on a healthcare system when they don't need to rely on it. Heart attacks don't just happen out of nowhere. Strokes don't just happen out of nowhere. Diabetes doesn't just happen out of nowhere. In the majority of cases, I'm not talking about type 1 diabetes, and I'm not talking about babies that are born with type 2 diabetes because their parents were negligent. I'm not talking about those cases. I'm talking about the people who have neglected their health and their nutrition and their lifestyle for years on end, and then they suddenly are diagnosed with diabetes or with atherosclerotic diseases like strokes or cerebral diseases or heart disease, and then you want to put that burden on the people. You want the government to take care of this issue we already know the answer to it. The answer is not to throw more money at this or give the power to the government. That's not the answer. The answer is to educate the people, is to give the knowledge. We know what cures heart disease. Dr. Esselstyn already proved it. Dr. Ornish already proved it. We know what cures it. It's a whole foods, plant-based diet. Low fat, by the way. A low-fat, whole foods, plant-based diet. We don't need government help for that. We need knowledge is what we need. We already know what cures diabetes. Without weight loss, by the way. And no, it's not the fucking keto diet. It's a whole food, plant-based diet that cures diabetes without weight loss. Again, and it's also, by the way, and if you don't want to do a whole food, plant-based diet because you're addicted to animal products, you could always just lose weight and most likely your diabetes will go into remission, or it'll probably get reversed as well too. Diabetes is a fat disease. I don't think anyone's really gonna disagree with that. It's actual fat inside your cells. So, I mean, you just gotta get the fat out of the cells. Intramyocellular lipids, I've already talked about. I've made videos on it. Link will be somewhere up there. Check it out when you get a chance. What really grinds my gears is that people think that just because someone says something nice, doesn't matter who it is, whether it's the orange fellow or whether it's Bernie, and they say things that you like to hear. It doesn't matter. This person or that body of people in the government are not here to fix your issues. It is on you to fix your issues. One president actually had it right, and it was before I was alive, and that poor president was assassinated, but he had it right. It is not what your country can do for you, it is what you can do for your country. This whole idea that the government's gonna step in and fix everything is a fantasy. They're all corrupt, and even though Bernie Sanders himself may not be corrupt, he lacks knowledge because he thinks that we have a broken healthcare system, which I agree, we do. It's completely corrupt and it's completely broken. But the people can take power themselves and at least take care of themselves. And we have a nation that's sick, and the numbers don't lie. I'm sorry, the numbers tell you exactly what it is. I'm an analytical type of person. I mean, you look at the numbers. We have a sick nation that's addicted to foods, and now we're getting them addicted to drugs as well too. We're sedating issues rather than treating the actual cause. Okay, we're sedating symptoms. That's what we're doing. We're sedating symptoms rather than treating the sickness itself. You have heart disease, that means you're suffering from atherosclerosis in your arteries. You got clogged fucking arteries. Same thing with stroke. It's an atherosclerotic disease. You got diabetes, you got too much fat. You have to reverse it. We already know the cure for this. We don't need to bill insurance companies to continue to give people insulin so that they can continue to sedate the symptoms of what their body is telling is wrong with them. They need to reverse their diseases. And if they choose not to reverse their diseases, then they're choosing to kill themselves. And that's their choice. A person has a right to kill themselves. I'm not saying anyone. I really wish they wouldn't. And as a trainer, I don't advocate that. I really wish you wouldn't kill yourself, but you have a right to do it if you want to do it, as an American at least. What we have in place right now is a sick care system. It's not a health care system, it's a sick care system. We keep people sick and we make as much money as we can from them because of lack of knowledge, primarily because of that. I'm not against helping someone or helping a kid that was born with like cystic fibrosis, or someone that was born with autism, or somebody that got in an accident and needs surgery, or a kid that got shot in a drive-by shooting. Absolutely not. That's why we have doctors. That's why we need them. I'm not against helping people, but the people who actually need help. Our main causes of disease in this country, in the world, are preventable. And these diseases are what is causing the biggest burden, at least in regards to healthcare, in this country, in the United States. And the government is not gonna fix it, because if the government wanted to fix it, they wouldn't take it into their hands. They'd give the power back to the people and they would educate them. They'd provide the knowledge. And Bernie Sanders himself, if he really cared, he'd read a few fucking science articles and realize that we already know what the answer is to reverse this epidemic and not give the power to the government by taxing the American people more, which is ridiculous. Of those of you who are wondering if just because I disagree with Bernie, does that mean that I agree with the Republican Party or the whatever part, whatever? No, I don't agree with any of these clowns over here. I think they're ridiculous. I don't believe in any politician. I don't believe in the government. And this is coming from a former United States Marine. I don't believe in any of these. I think they're all dirtbags. All of them. They're all dirtbags. You have to take care of you. Okay, the better you can take care of you, the better you can take care of those around you. Think of it this way. If I'm jacked up, how well can I help you if I'm all jacked up? If I'm sick? I'm not helping no one. I need someone to help me. So I need to keep myself strong. I need to keep myself healthy and strong. And you got to do the same thing so that we could all help each other. That's the way it works. But take care of you first. So let me know what you think. Do you disagree? Do you agree? Do you think Bernie Sanders is the answer? Do you agree with his healthcare plan? And do you think it would resolve the healthcare crisis, which is really not healthcare? It's actually sick care, like I said. This is bullcrap, that healthcare name. I can't stand that crap. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comment sections down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? You know I love to engage with all of you. You guys know the spiel. I'm the Natural Hulkster. I want to thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for the next one.